Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stacy, and I underwent weight loss surgery in October of 2023. So I'm here today to talk a little bit about what it was like telling people and who do we want to tell, how do we tell them. So I can really just start with my journey and kind of maybe look at some tips and ideas towards the end about how you might approach the same situation if your perspective is a little bit different than mine. Our family is a very open family. We have a lot of very difficult, open conversations. We've gone through a lot of ups and downs in our years as a blended family, and we've overcome them all with increased communication and really just understanding, listening, and talking things through. So that being said, my kids are currently I have four kids between the age of 18 and 26. I didn't forget, not at all. I swear they're between 18 and 26. Um, so at the time of my surgery decisions, they were between the ages roughly 16 to 24. So obviously a little bit older, and because we are a pretty open family, I was telling them that I had made this choice, and I actually kind of talked it over with them a little bit in advance. Specifically, I talked to my oldest about it. Um, a little bit more one-on-one before I had completely made the decision. And I was like, I'm thinking about doing this. And he was like, how come? And I was like, well, these are my reasons. And he's like, hey man, you do what you got to do. He's like, that's awesome. I think that's great. And then once the decision was made, I talked to the other three, and yeah, they were all like, that's really neat. And then they were kind of interested and intrigued. My younger two are very analytical. So they were very much interested in the science behind it. Smaller stomach, how does that work? What's your absorption? And what are the surgeries like? And what are the two differences? So it was really interesting that way. And my daughter, she was fantastic. She's more the heart of the matter, and she was really supportive on an emotional level as well in comparison to the scientific level. So I was very lucky in that I got a very well-rounded, supportive response from my four kids, and that worked out really great for me. Telling extended family and friends, I told a few friends to start with, just kind of again looking for their feedback on it, and they were all really great. Which, maybe I knew they were going to be really great. So maybe I just purposely spoke to people who were going to give me that support that I needed. And that's okay. You can just talk to the people who you know are going to support you. And if you have people who are not going to support you, you can just not talk to them about it too. Only you know who is going to be good for your journey. And hopefully you're right about who's going to support and who's not going to support. Sometimes we might be a little surprised in the process about who's actually not as supportive as we thought they were going to be. And that can be a hard learning curve as well. I know a few people who have lost friends through the process and have been distanced by their family members, certain ones, because of the choices they've made. And that's for them. I feel really bad about that because it's such a difficult process anyway to lose friends over it, or to no longer have that supportive family that you thought you had. That adds another layer of grieving to it, really, because you're grieving the loss of those friendships and the loss of those relationships on top of trying to balance everything else out. And I think that that's just a really unfortunate byproduct that some people have to face. And I'm very lucky in that I have not necessarily come across that so far in my journey. Now, that being said, early on, I did not share with everyone my choices. I did tell my brother and my sister. I did tell some of my step siblings a little bit about it. One of them mostly because she was a nurse, and I was like, "Yo, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts on this?" I like to tap into her medical knowledge whenever I can, and and again, they were all really, really great, really supportive. I did have a couple of family members that I was a little hesitant to speak to about it just because of some of the baggage that I brought to the situation um, from growing up, and my weight having always been a topic or an issue or a bone of contention for some, um, possibly me. The bone of contention could have been with me as well. But that dynamic, there was always a little bit of a rough dynamic sometimes between me and a couple of my family members. So I did put off having that conversation with some of them early on until it got closer to my surgery date. And then I was like, okay, I think I need to have this conversation. And it wasn't necessarily because, society was making me feel like I had to do it. It was my own self. And I like to share. I don't like keeping things from people. And so one day I reached out and I was like, hey, I'm undergoing the process for weight loss surgery. And this is the situation. And I was very pleasantly surprised with the response. And they were both, they were like, good for you. You know what? I'm so proud of you for taking your health into your hands, and what a big decision this must have been. And ultimately, they were very supportive of me, and for that, I was also grateful. Although I was a little disappointed that I had put so much anxiety on it, and I had put it off for so long. But we do that for a reason. Usually in this situation, when it comes to our weight and it comes to our health and it comes to the baggage that we bring to the table from that, sometimes we've lived through it, and we know who's going to be difficult in certain situations, and who has maybe been a challenge for us up to this situation. So self-preservation may be part of that factor that led to that anxiety building moment. But again, I was very pleasantly surprised that I received the support that I needed from them at that time, which was fantastic. Who else did I tell? Once I got closer to my surgery date, or I actually had my surgery, I became more open about it. I knew the weight was coming off pretty fast at that point, and I knew people were going to notice it. I was a small business owner at the time, and my customers started noticing. They were like, wow, you've lost a lot of weight. And I was like, yeah, I had a little help. I underwent weight loss surgery in October. And yeah, this is where I'm at. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. You look fantastic. For the most part, everyone's just like, oh, that's amazing. You look fantastic. And then every now and then, you get that comment of, oh, I had a friend who lost like 80 pounds, but they did it naturally. And, I know I've shared that one before. And, or some people who just don't really know how to respond. Oh, I had weight loss surgery in October. It's doing great. It's a really good tool just to help me stay on a healthy path. And people are just like uncomfortable sometimes about it. They're like, oh, okay. But I'm open about it, and I'm not ashamed of it, and I'm not embarrassed by it. And I'm really proud that I've taken this path. So for me, it's important that I share that with people and talk about it, because when I see those awkward responses, for me, I'm a I like to joke sometimes that I have like a superhero complex, because I just want to like change the world. So when I see people get a little uncomfortable about it, I want to inform them, and I want to educate them and let them know. And I want to break that stigma a little bit and normalize it a little bit more, that this is okay to do this. It's okay to put your health first, however you choose it, whether you choose weight loss surgery, whether you choose a different exercise regime, different eating habits without the surgery. It's important to put our health first, and it's important to think about yourself sometimes before everyone else. And that's a big one for me to be working on in the last few years as well. So I'm always very open about my surgery. Do I want to save the world and change everybody? Yeah, kind of a little bit. But really, I just think that education is key. As corny as it sounds, knowledge is power. And the more that we can share with people, the more they're going to understand and the less taboo it's going to seem. And that's just me. That's just my view and how I feel. And that is not going to work for everyone. Some people are very much introverted and reserved and keep those things to yourself. And that's okay too. You absolutely do not need to share this journey with anyone. You really don't. It's whatever is best for you and whatever is most comfortable for you. You know, it's not up to anyone else to tell you how to live your life and how to present your choices. And whatever works for you is what's going to work for you. Only you know who's going to receive it the way that you need them to receive it to help you along your path. Small children, I've not really had to speak a whole lot to small children about it. My grandkids, I just explained to them that grandma's tummy is a little bit smaller. You know, it's harder for her to eat a whole bunch of food, that kind of thing. You know, use age appropriate language when you're talking to your children about it. You know, I got very technical with my kids. That was appropriate for their age. You know, you can simply say, you know what, I'm going for surgery and it's going to help me eat better and it's going to help me to exercise a little bit more and it's going to improve my health. You know, we're going to change the way we eat a little bit in the house. You know, I'm going to have my plates are going to look different. I'm going to have smaller portions. You might notice these things. And then if they're small enough, they're probably not even going to notice. They're not going to remember. They're not going to think about it. And, you know, once that weight starts to come off or once your body starts to adapt, they might not even notice and they might not even change, or they might not even notice those changes in you. They might not even remember what you looked like 10 months ago, 2 years ago. Kids are pretty adaptable. They're pretty versatile. They kind of roll with things pretty smoothly. So I guess really what I'm saying is it's up to you who you want to tell and how you want to tell them. And really you're the only one who's going to know what the best way to approach the situation is and what you're comfortable with. And with so many things happening to our bodies during this process, you know, between the weight, the hormones, the diet, you know, all that water we got to drink, you know, the exercising, really, it's a lot to take on, and this is just a different aspect of it. So if you want to tell people, you tell people. If you don't want to tell people, you don't tell people. It's totally up to you. I can only share with you how it went for me, and that's just kind of my feedback on that. So if you've had a different journey or a different challenge, feel free to comment down below and let me know. If you have any questions, go ahead, ask them. I'll do my best to answer. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and then that way you're going to get notifications, or you'll find out when I have a new video coming up. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.